For 3 decades, they've been this anomaly, a 9-headed musical monster in boiler suits and nightmare masks. We're talking, of course, about Slipknot. But look, this isn't just about the music. This is about pure survival. It's about how an entity literally built on chaos has managed to push through tragedy, insane conflict, and a music industry that's completely changed. So, how on earth did they do it? Let's get into it.
I mean, it's the question, isn't it? Most bands would have completely imploded under just a fraction of the pressure these guys have faced. So how did this collective from the middle of nowhere, Iowa, not only survive, but actually thrive for 30 years? Well, the answer is way more complex than you think.
And here's the key. The secret to understanding their survival is to stop thinking of Slipknot as just a band. It's an institution. It has a structure, a powerful brand, and a set of internal rules that have let it withstand forces that would have absolutely shattered a more conventional group. Honestly, it's a masterclass in resilience. And when we talk about crises, we are not kidding. We're talking about the heartbreaking deaths of founding members, a really messy internal lawsuit over money, legendary infighting, and, the complete and total upheaval of the music business itself. Seriously, any one of these could have been a career ender. So, to understand how they built this bulletproof structure, we have to go back, way back, to the beginning. Back to the cornfields of Des Moines, Iowa, where the foundations for this global phenomenon were laid down. Right, so the band wasn't just born overnight. It was forged, piece by piece, idea by idea, member by member. This was a really careful assembly of parts that created something totally unique from the ground up. And it all started in this surprisingly fertile local scene. You can actually see the evolution happen right here. It all starts with this whole network of local bands where the future members are cutting their teeth. Then, 95, the core is formed. But the real game changer happens late that year when the legendary Joey Jordison joins on drums. This move lets Sean Crahan, Clown, move to custom percussion, creating that signature 3-drummer wall of sound that became their trademark.
And this number says everything about their early commitment. Long before any record deal, before anyone knew their name, the members pooled their own money to self-finance their first project, to the tune of $40,000. This was never a hobby. It was a dead serious, all-in investment from day one. That set a foundation of independence that would define them.
And this just shows you how deliberate everything was. Even the name Slipknot wasn't random. It was decided during these late-night sessions at the Sinclair gas station where Joey Jordison worked. It was chosen to perfectly capture that claustrophobic, intense, suffocating sound they were creating. Okay, so with the lineup and identity locked in, the band signs with Roadrunner Records, and they meet the producer Ross Robinson. And this partnership, well, it would channel all their pain, both physical and psychological, into 2 of the most important albums in the history of modern metal. Now, the first album was fueled by this desperate, raw hunger for success. The studio environment was described as combustible. But the follow-up, Iowa, that was a whole different beast. That album was the product of the absolute hell that success brought with it. We're talking addiction, bitter infighting, and a level of pure darkness that was almost unbearable. And just to give you an idea of the sheer extremity of that time, this is what they were doing. This wasn't just making music. It was this brutal form of performance art rooted in genuine suffering. Corey Taylor actually put himself through this to capture a level of authentic agony for the album's title track. It's a shocking detail for sure, but it's absolutely central to understanding their ethos back then. Real trauma for real art. So after hitting this massive commercial and creative peak, the institution of Slipknot would face its greatest tests yet. This next period was defined by loss, which forced the band to either completely reconstruct its foundation or just collapse entirely. Yeah, the success of Iowa and the albums that followed, it all came at a cost. The bonds inside the band were frayed, and the real-world consequences of their lifestyle were about to catch up with them in the most tragic way imaginable. This was it, the classic lineup, the original 9 that took over the world. But just look at that column on the right. In 2010, founding bassist and a primary songwriter, Paul Gray, dies. Just 3 years later, founding drummer and the engine of the band, Joey Jordison, is dismissed. He would later pass away in 2021. The band's entire rhythm section, its literal heart, was gone. And this is the moment. This is where that institutional framework was truly put to the test. By recruiting new members for the album Point 5, The Gray Chapter, Slipknot proved that the machine they had built was bigger than any single person, even its founding architects. The system, the institution, could somehow survive the unimaginable and just keep going. So having survived tragedy, the band entered a completely new phase. They started to evolve from just a recording act into this sophisticated, self-managed corporate entity, a true modern metal machine.
This slide basically maps out their entire journey to total autonomy. After signing that massive long-term deal, they had to evolve. And notice that lawsuit in 2019? That was a huge sign that the band's business structure had to change. After they settled that and finally fulfilled their 25-year contract, they achieved what they've been building towards the whole time: full independence, controlling their own destiny through their massive global brand Knotfest.
And if you want to see the result of that entire journey, just look at this. From that initial $40,000 scraped together by a bunch of guys in Iowa, the institution grew into an asset so valuable that in 2024, its music catalog was sold for an estimated $120 million. I mean, that right there is the definition of institutional success. Which brings us to today, and to a really fascinating philosophical question that now kind of hangs over the entire band. After all the chaos, all the changes, what exactly is Slipknot anymore? You might have heard of this before. The ship of Theseus is a classic thought experiment. If you take a ship and over time you replace every single plank of wood, is it still the same ship when you're done? Well, fans and critics are now applying that exact same paradox to Slipknot. Think about it. With a new rhythm section, new percussionists, a new sampler, the band is a living, breathing example of this paradox. It really forces us to ask, is the identity of Slipknot tied to its founding members? Or is it the mask, the sound, the aggression, the institution itself? What's the ghost in this modern metal machine? Now that is something worth thinking about.